Hi there, my name is Chandler Stevens. I'm a somatic coach, and in this video I'd like to share a few steps you can take to slay any stress dragon that you find yourself up against. Reason being that we respond to stresses physiologically and behaviorally much in the same way that we would if we actually were confronted with a dragon, right? The stresses in our lives trigger a whole cascade of physiological changes, of behavioral changes, all of which keep us from performing at our best. When we find ourselves caught in that reactive mode, we are unable to tackle that stress with all of the creativity and all of the composure that we could really muster. And so it really does keep us from performing with the efficacy and the efficiency that we might be able to if we were able to find a bit of space between the stimulus itself and our habitual responses to that stimulus. So in this video, I want to walk you through a few steps you can use to make use of the brain-body and the mind-body unity so that you can find a bit more composure, a bit more oomph, a bit more ease in dealing with the stresses that you're up against. And we're going to borrow from a body of work known as havening. Really beautiful practice, really potent, and I think you'll experience this for yourself as you go through it. You can make some pretty significant changes much more quickly than you might imagine. So here's how we might begin. When you're ready to get started with this process, take a couple of moments and imagine a particularly stressful situation. This could be a memory, this could be a challenge that you have looming on the horizon, this could be something in your day-to-day life. Whatever the case is, take a few moments to really experience your body's response to that stress. And you might get a sense of what sensations, what feelings come up for you as you do so. Is there a particular butterfly sensation in your belly? Is there a creeping tension that you feel in your neck or your shoulders? Whatever the case may be, you can just notice those sensations at this point. And overall, you might pick a number on a scale from 0 to 10 of how activated you feel in response to this situation. And we could say 0 is not at all. It's nothing. 10 is highly activated. I am all in. I am, whatever the case may be. Pick a number from 0 to 10, just to use as a reference benchmark for yourself as you go through the rest of this practice. And when you're ready to continue, what you can do is begin a series of self-soothing movements. First of which we'll work with is applying firm but gentle pressure downward from your shoulders to your hands. And as you go through this movement a number of times for yourself, would you close your eyes, if you're comfortable doing so, and visualize taking 20 steps for yourself. These could be up a flight of stairs. These could be 20 steps along a sidewalk. Whenever I go through this for myself, I imagine 20 steps hopping from rock to rock along a creek. That's particularly enjoyable for me. Whatever it is that helps you feel at ease within yourself. And with each of those 20 steps that you take, could you imagine your stress level reducing with each step? So again, you go through this as you think out 20 steps, and you keep that same rhythm that you have for yourself, of firm and gentle pressure along your arms. And of course, it's always a useful reminder, are you breathing here? And after you've taken those 20 steps in your mind's eye, what you can do next is apply a bit of distraction for yourself. And what I mean is we're going to introduce a cognitive distraction here. So, for example, could you go through the alphabet and come up with an animal that begins with each of the letters of the alphabet? So, as you continue with this self-soothing movement, you might think to yourself, aardvark, badger, cheetah, donkey, elephant, so on and so forth. Another example of a distraction might be singing a neutral song, a nursery rhyme of some sort to yourself. It could be row, row, row your boat. Could be twinkle, twinkle, little star. Whatever the case may be. And if you do sing to yourself, I recommend going through that 2 times while continuing with this self-soothing. And now, after you've gone through that distraction process, giving your mind something to focus on other than the stress, here's what to do next. Pause. Look left and right a few times. Orient yourself to the here and now environment that you find yourself in. And it might be particularly helpful for you to pay attention to the fact that you don't see any dragons in the room around you. There are no tigers waiting in ambush. There's not a pack of wolves coming to get you. And as silly as it seems, having these deliberate, conscious reminders that you are not in any existential threat is very significant for your neurological health, very significant for your body's animal responses to settle. Now, after you've taken a few moments to look around the room and orient to your present environment, think back to that baseline you set for yourself and the number you chose on a scale from 0 to 10. As you think about that particular situation now, has anything shifted for you in terms of your ranking of how activated you feel? Or in terms of your own physiological sensations, in terms of the feelings you have within yourself too? Now, you might find that if you were at a 7 or 8, you've gone down to a 4, maybe even a 2, maybe a 0. Now, what you could do at this point is repeat that process for yourself. Repeat those steps until you get to the point where you don't notice any decrease in that sensation, or until you get to a 0, right? If you're at a 0, great, you can go on with the rest of your day. If you find that you aren't decreasing anymore the more you go through it, well, it might just be that your system has done as much work as you can process for the day. Now, if you go back through this, I'd like to share a couple of variations with you as well. So this was the self-soothing movement we began with. There are a couple of other options. One is stroking along your face, gently but firmly, again. The other is working with the hands, almost in a hand-washing movement, right? So you could go back through these with each of the 3 self-soothing movements, and you'll find that at the end of 15, 20 minutes or so, you feel much more supported and grounded within yourself when you think of confronting that stress. You find a much greater sense of ease and of competence within yourself when confronting that stress, that it doesn't quite seem as big a dragon you have to slay here, right? That maybe after a few rounds of this practice, that dragon has shrunken down some. It's much cuter, much more easy to deal with at this point. So I would love to know as well, if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions that this brings up for you, drop those in the comments as well. And we'll talk again soon.